Hey guys, today I'm filming my drugstore blush collection and overview. I have so many blushes in my collection that I had to split them up by drugstore and high-end. If you guys have not seen any of my other collection and overview videos, I'll have them all linked down below. So I'll be linking my entire makeup collection and storage for 2016. And I have done in-depth collection and overview videos for foundation, palettes, bronzers, contours, and highlights. So please make sure you check those videos if you would like to see what products I have in my collection and hear my thoughts on all of them. Overall, I would probably describe myself as a drugstore girl, but there are some products where I feel like they just perform better from high-end brands. I have so many more high-end blushes than I do drugstore blushes, but because I have such high standards for blush, the drugstore blushes I'm going to show you are absolutely incredible, right on par with high-end expensive blushes. So first I wanted to show you my favorite blush brushes. Yes, I do have 3 of them. First, I have the Real Techniques buffing brush. This is my go-to cream blush brush. This is the best brush that I have found for my ColourPop blushes. This is such a great size for my cheek. It has a really nice amount of density to it, and because it does have the synthetic bristles, this can work with powder and cream products. I don't use this brush for my powder blushes, but this is my go-to for cream. For powder blush, I have 2 different brushes that I use depending on the pigmentation of the blush. This brush is the Walmart HD Angled Blush Brush. I don't know if this is available any longer, but an angled blush brush is a staple for most brands and comes in a ton of brush kits, so you will be able to find this type of brush from a ton of different brands. I love using this brush for blushes that are a bit more sheer and I need them to be built up. Because this is more dense, it really helps to pack on the color, and I personally like to apply blush on the back of my cheeks, and this brush does a great job of applying product there. With most of my blushes, I use this brush, which is the Sigma F15 Duo Fiber Blush Brush. This is perfect to use with blushes that are really intensely pigmented. This helps you pick up the right amount of color without getting clown cheeks. I absolutely love this. I think it is key. I think this shape really fits on the cheek really well and really helps to feather the product on. I use this today. I absolutely love this brush. So now getting into my drugstore blush collection, I want to start with ColourPop. I have 8 different ColourPop blushes. This is ColourPop Blush in Holiday, which has a matte finish. Here's a swatch of ColourPop Holiday. This is ColourPop Fox, which has a satin finish. Here's a swatch of ColourPop Fox. This is ColourPop's Early Bird, which is a matte finish. Here's a swatch of ColourPop Early Bird. This is ColourPop Clutch, which has a matte finish. Here's a swatch of ColourPop Clutch. This is ColourPop Between the Sheets, and it has a matte finish. Here's a swatch of ColourPop Between the Sheets. This is ColourPop Never Been Kissed, which is a matte finish. Here's a swatch of ColourPop Never Been Kissed. This is ColourPop Cruel Intentions, which has a matte finish. Here's a swatch of ColourPop Cruel Intentions. Here's ColourPop Cheerio, which has a satin finish. Here's a swatch of ColourPop Cheerio. So I have 8 ColourPop blushes, 6 matte finishes, and 2 satin finishes. I am not going to buy any more ColourPop blushes because I don't reach for them as often as I should. The formula is not the easiest to work with, and I prefer using straight up powder blushes. The matte finishes are a really stiff texture that you really have to dig your brush into. The satin finishes are a lot easier to work with because of the shimmer. They are just a little bit more creamy, not so stiff, and easier to pick up on a brush. Out of all the shades I own, Cheerio is my favorite. This is such a stunning color. I love wearing in the winter time. This is their deepest color, and I am able to make it work on me. So for the ColourPop blushes I have, I think they are so gorgeous. I do use them, but not a ton, and they definitely are not my favorite. So if you guys are interested in trying out ColourPop blushes, I say only purchase 1 or 2 to see if you like the formula. And again, I really do like the formula of this satin blushes better than the mattes. Then I have 2 blushes from Makeup Geek. I have one of their old formula old packaging and one of their new formula new packaging. Can we just talk about the packaging? What an improvement. So for the old packaging, I did like that it was see-through. That way I could be able to see the actual color of my blush, but I do have to admit this packaging does look a little bit cheap. And this new packaging is so luxurious with the gunmetal. I think it's gorgeous. But if you do have a bunch of these compacts in your collection, you're going to have to fiddle through all of them to find the blush that you want. It does have the name on the back, which is nice. So there are pros and cons to both kinds of packaging, but this is the one that is available now. Makeup Geek blushes retail for $15 in the pot form, and in the pan form they retail for $10. So if you plan on getting a bunch of these, I would probably recommend that you get them in the pan because you will be able to save some money, and it is going to take up less space and you won't have so much trouble figuring out which blush you're actually trying to use. So first up, I have the old packaging, old formula of the shade Secret Admirer, which has been reformulated and is in their new line. Thank goodness. I'm so glad they did not get rid of this color. This is a gorgeous lavender shade. Right here is a swatch of Makeup Geek Secret Admirer. This shade is really only going to work best for fair and light skin tones because it does have so much of a white base to it. It does still have a lot of nice pink and purple tones, but this could look too light on tan and deep skin tones. I think this was really pigmented and it applied really nicely on the cheeks and looked nice on the cheeks. I did have some issues when swatching it. It was a little bit patchy, and definitely seeing the swatch of this compared to the new formula, it just applied way more evenly. That could have to do with the shades that I have though. So if you are interested in the shade, I would highly recommend getting it, and I do like the new formula better. The other Makeup Geek blush I have is XOXO. This is targeted to be a perfect fit for medium skin tones, but I love it on my skin. This is the most stunning pinky coral shade, and here is a swatch of Makeup Geek XOXO. So the differences I've noticed between the formulas is that this one is way more pigmented. It is a little bit powdery, but that's because the formula has such rich buttery pigmentation to it. I am wearing it on my cheeks today. It is really pigmented. Even if I do a fiber brush, I just picked up a little bit of product, applied a dash to this cheek, and then really buffed it in on this cheek, and then went back and buffed. So I used one brush swatch for both cheeks. I think this is such a gorgeous color. I really do enjoy the formula. I found that when swatching it, it did apply a lot more evenly than Secret Admirer and the old formula. So highly recommend you guys check out the new Makeup Geek blushes. The packaging and the colors and the pigmentation and the formulation is amazing. Next, I have one of the e.l.f. Studio $3 blushes. I only own one of these. I used to own the shade Candid Coral. It was a little bit too light for my liking, so I did pass that one on to my mom. So overall, especially the lighter shades of this range don't pack crazy pigmentation, so I would probably use my angled blush brush with them. But for this shade, Berry Mary, it is super duper pigmented, and I do use the duo fiber brush with this. This is my #1 holy grail must have winter blush. I have been using this for years. This is very similar to NARS Sin, but obviously a lot cheaper. A really gorgeous berry wine shade with some stunning golden shimmer. And right here is a swatch of e.l.f. Berry Mary. So highly recommend this particular shade of the Studio Blush range. I'm not really a fan of the others. The next blush I have is from Sonia Kashuk. This is in the shade Melon, another stunning pinky coral color. This is a little bit more muted, so this is really wearable. I don't find it to be too bright. Right here is a swatch of Sonia Kashuk Melon. And this is the old packaging with this beautiful white. The new packaging is black. I'm pretty sure the formula was the same. They just changed the packaging. I love the old packaging better, so I'm really happy that I have this one. It is super sleek and slim, has that magnetic closure that I love. Sonia Kashuk has, I believe, around 8 shades in this line, and this is the only shade that really spoke to me, and I love it. It is my go-to drugstore summer blush. It is so stunning, really pigmented and smooth. This does remind me of the new Makeup Geek blush formula, except the Makeup Geek ones are a bit more powdery. I do not have that powdery effect with these. They just apply really nicely and are really pigmented. I really love this color and this formula. It is a staple of mine. Next I have the Milani Matte Baked Blushes. I have tried one of their regular baked blushes in Rose d'Oro. I did not like the way that looked on me. It was really pigmented and it did have that gorgeous glow to it, but it had some more chunky glitter pieces and that shade just wasn't flattering on my skin tone. So I actually am not interested in any of the shades in the regular baked blush range, even Luminoso. I really don't think I would like that shade on myself. However, I absolutely love the matte shades. I really wish they had more of the shades in this matte formula. The first shade I have is Delizioso Pink. This is a gorgeous blue tone pink that I think could work for a wide variety of skin tones because it doesn't really have a strong white base. This is a really bright pink, really pigmented. Here is a swatch of Milani Delizioso Pink. I am not a pink blush person whatsoever, but I would consider this my staple pink blush. The second shade I have is Bella Rosa. This is a really red tone pink. And here's a swatch of Milani Bella Rosa. This is super intense, and guess what? I can make it work on my very fair NC15 skin tone with that Duo Fiber blush brush, so do not be afraid. If you guys are fair skin and you are intimidated by really intense blushes, but you want to try them out, go for it. If you use the right brush, the right amount of product, and you really blend it out, I find that I can make just about any blush work for me. So these blushes are not a true matte finish. I find them to be more of a satin finish. They have a slight glow to them, which you can't really see on the cheek. You can mostly see it in the pan and in a swatch. But on the skin, because it isn't a true matte, it does not look too dry, and it just gives you that really beautiful, healthy flush of color. These are really intense shades, but I absolutely love them. They are so smooth and pigmented. These are not powdery whatsoever, but they're not dry. These are just an amazing texture. Highly recommend these. My last two drugstore blushes are limited edition, and if I can find them online, I will link them down below for you guys. But if not, I apologize, but because they are in my collection, I do still want to show them to you. The first blush is from Essence. This was part of the Beauty Beats Justin Bieber collection in the shade Groupie at Heart. I picked this blush up on a whim because it was on sale for $150, and honestly I needed to hit that $10 mark to use the $350 off $10 coupon at Ulta. So this was such an amazing product I just happened to come across. I didn't expect much of it whatsoever, but it is incredible. So this is what the shade looks like. It is a really intense hot red pink, but as you can see, it is a lot more pink than Bella Rosa from Milani. I have not tried the other Essence blushes, but I've heard really great things. The colors are just a little bit more on the light side and a little too natural for my liking, but this one is amazing. It really packs a punch. This is a really creamy pigmented formula. Really impressed. I was not expecting such great quality from this, but it's amazing. Here's a swatch of Essence Groupie at Heart. My last blush is from the Disney Villains collection. So this was a product that was sold at Walgreens at least once a year. There is a Disney collection at Walgreens. Sometimes it is made by e.l.f. Sometimes it's made by Wet n Wild. I'm not sure which brand made this. So if you guys know, let me know. This is in the shade Jealous, and it has the Evil Queen on the packaging. And this is what the blush looks like. It is a really pretty pinky peach coral shade, but it has a ton of gold glitter. I'm okay with shimmer. I'm not really a fan of glitter, and this has a little too much for my liking. That really does show up. And this is a swatch of the Disney Villains blush in Jealous. It looks so stunning in a swatch. So I had seen Lip Gloss Leslie mention this in a video, and for some reason I thought this was going to be similar to the MAC Villains blush in Vitamin Apple from a million years ago, which I really want, but I'm never going to be able to find it for a reasonable price. This is nothing like it. It is a pretty blush. I do not reach for this whatsoever because of that really intense gold glitter. Like I said, I like shimmer, not glitter. I'm going to try to use it this summer and see if I want to keep this or pass it along. So those are all of my drugstore drugstore blushes. I would recommend all of them with the exception of ColourPop matte blushes. If you want to try them out, see what you think of the formula, again, I'd recommend picking up one shade. They're not bad, but they're just not that easy to work with. And also this Villain's Jealous blush, I just never use it because of the glitter, so I don't think you need to try to go out of your way to find this. But for the rest of the blushes, I consider them to be holy grail staples for both the formula and the color. Highly, highly recommend. So for a drugstore blush wish list, I only have one I can think of right now, and that would be one of the other Makeup Geek blushes in the shade Spellbound. That was part of the old packaging, old formula, but they have redone it and added it to the new blush line, which I'm really, really excited about. It is such a stunning color. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but I don't know if it's special enough. I'm not sure if I already have something really similar in my collection. I'm okay owning blushes that are similar, but if I have anything that is an exact dupe, it makes me really sad and I feel like I wasted my money. So if you guys have a Spellbound, let me know what you think about it, and if I have to have it. I really am thinking about getting it because I am so impressed with this formula. Also, if you've tried any of the other Makeup Geek blushes in this new formula, please, please, please let me know your thoughts. Let me know what colors I need. This is just the heather color of the collection. But that was my drugstore blush collection overview. I would love to know what your must-have drugstore blushes are, and I'd love to know your thoughts if you've tried out any of these. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.